You know this sound. You've never met a dinosaur, but you know exactly what one sounds like. It's in your bones. There's just one problem. That sound is a lie. That world-famous roar, it's a baby elephant screaming, stitched to a tiger and an alligator. A real dinosaur may have sounded nothing like it. In fact, and I mean this literally, you have never, in your entire life, heard a dinosaur. So today we're going to fix that. We're going to strip away 100 years of movie magic, follow the real science, and rebuild the voice of a monster from scratch. And by the end of this video, for the first time in your life, you're actually going to hear one. Here's the strange thing about dinosaurs. We have so much of them. We have their skeletons, their footprints, fossilized skin, eggs. We've even found one that died fighting another, frozen mid-bite for 74 million years. But there's one thing the ground never gave us: a voice. Because sound isn't a bone. The parts of an animal that make noise, the throat, the soft tissue, the air sacs, they're squishy, they rot, they almost never fossilize. So for over a century, every dinosaur that ever lived was completely, perfectly silent. Nature left us a silent film. And in 1993, one man wrote the soundtrack. His name was Gary Rydstrom, the sound designer for Jurassic Park. He had no recordings to work from, obviously. So he built the dinosaurs out of a zoo. The T-Rex's roar, a baby elephant for the scream, a tiger for the growl, an alligator for the rumble, and the velociraptors, those clever, terrifying killers. Their most famous scream is the sound of two tortoises mating. I'm serious. The scariest creature in movie history is the sound of two tortoises in love, and it worked so well that it overwrote reality. That sound is now louder in your head than the truth. So let's do something nobody did for 100 years. Let's ask the animal itself. To rebuild a voice, you don't need a time machine. You need relatives. Because every animal alive is a leaked document about its ancestors. And dinosaurs have living relatives, two of them. On one branch, crocodiles and alligators, they're cousins. On the other branch are birds. And this isn't a metaphor. Birds didn't just descend from dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs. The pigeon on your windowsill is a living, feathered dinosaur that survived the apocalypse. And scientists have a rule. If both surviving branches, the crocodiles and the birds, do the same thing, then their common ancestor, the dinosaur, very likely did it too. So what do crocodiles and birds both do? They don't roar. They boom. That's an alligator. Its mouth is barely open. The sound is so low it makes the water on its back leap into the air. This, not the Hollywood scream, is the kind of sound a real dinosaur was built to make. And this is where it gets genuinely strange. Because if dinosaurs didn't roar like the movies, and, as we'll see, they couldn't sing like the birds either, then for over 150 million years, the most powerful animals that ever walked this planet were making a sound that humans barely have a word for. Hold that thought, because there's one dinosaur, just one, that didn't make its sound with a throat at all. It made it with an instrument built into its skull. And later in this video, I'm going to let you hear it. Stay with me. First, the throat. In 2016, a paleontologist named Julia Clarke led a study into how big birds actually make their deepest sounds. And what she found rewires the whole picture. Many large birds don't open their beaks to make their lowest calls. They do the opposite. They keep their mouth shut, and they push air into a balloon-like pouch in their neck. The sound escapes through the skin of the throat, a deep, closed-mouth boom. Think of a dove's coo or the impossibly low thump of an ostrich scaled up. Now apply that to a T-Rex, a throat the size of a man, inflating like a bullfrog. Here's the physics that should give you chills. The bigger the body, the lower the sound. Scale a closed-mouth boom up to 7 tons, and it drops below the range of human hearing. We call that infrasound. Infrasound travels for miles. It passes through walls, through trees, through you. So if you were standing in a Cretaceous forest, you would not hear the monster coming. You would feel it. A pressure in your chest, a buzz in your skull, a wrongness in the air. Long before you ever saw it, the most terrifying sound a dinosaur made might be one you couldn't consciously hear at all. Okay, but could they sing? Birds are dinosaurs. Birds give us the dawn chorus, the most beautiful sound on Earth. Surely some dinosaur somewhere could carry a tune. Almost certainly not, and we know why. Birds don't sing with their throat. They sing with a special organ buried deep in their chest where the windpipe splits, called the syrinx. No syrinx, no song. And in 2016, that same scientist, Julia Clarke, found the oldest one ever discovered. A fossilized voice box from a bird that lived right alongside the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. Here's the punchline. We have thousands of dinosaur fossils, and in all of them nobody has ever found a syrinx. The singing organ seems to have shown up late, right around the dawn of true birds, and not before. Which means, as far as we can tell, the dinosaurs couldn't sing. Sit with that. For over 150 million years, the entire age of the dinosaurs, planet Earth had no bird song, no melody in the trees. The most successful animals in history ruled a world that, by our standards, was eerily, profoundly quiet. Which brings us back to the promise I made you. The one dinosaur that didn't need a throat. Meet Parasaurolophus. It's a duck-billed dinosaur, about 75 million years old, with a bizarre 3-foot tube curving off the back of its skull. For years nobody knew what it was for. A snorkel, a weapon, a fashion statement. Then someone looked inside and found it was hollow. The tube loops air from the nostrils all the way back and forward again. It isn't a horn, it's a resonating chamber. A trombone built into a dinosaur's head. And here's the part that gives me goosebumps. Scientists have rebuilt that crest as math, as 3D models, as actual physical tubes with speakers and microphones, to figure out the note it would have played. So this is the closest any human will ever get to literally hearing a dinosaur. Brace yourself. That's it. A low, lonely note rolling across an empty valley 75 million years ago. Not a scream, not a roar, a foghorn made of bone. And just when scientists thought the case was closed, in 2023, they found something new. The first fossilized voice box from a non-bird dinosaur, an armored ankylosaur. It was large and surprisingly mobile, built not just to make sound, but to shape it the way a bird does. The implication is staggering. Bird-like calls may have begun echoing across the earth long before the first bird ever existed. So let's put it all back together. The real soundtrack of the age of dinosaurs was nothing like the movies. Forget the screaming monsters. Picture instead a low alligator boom you feel in your sternum, an infrasonic rumble moving through the ground beneath your feet, and every so often, a single brass note from a creature's skull rolling across a silent valley. In a world with no bird song, no music, and not a single human voice to hear any of it, for 165 million years, that was the sound of being alive on this planet. And then in a single terrible afternoon, an asteroid ended it. The booms went quiet. The rumbles stopped. The instrument skulls fell silent in the dirt. Almost all of it, because one branch of that family survived. The small, feathered, singing branch. The dinosaurs that finally learned to carry a tune. We call them birds. So here's the truth I'll leave you with. The next time a pigeon coos on a wire or a dove calls at dawn, stop for 1 second and actually listen. That low, closed-mouth coo, that's the exact trick its giant ancestors used 100 million years ago. You're not hearing a bird. You're hearing the last faint echo of a sound that once shook the ground. You've been hearing dinosaurs your whole life. You just never knew to listen. If you think you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing.